All right, so X is math, Y is science. So we need to be able to graph out to 150 on both of these. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines this way. So you could go by 20s. You could also go by 30s. Now I would go by 30s before 20s strictly because this is 60 and that's 150. So it'll allow me to plot nice points. You could also go by 15s. What? So 15, 30. So I'll probably go by 15 because that'll put me at my corners. So 15, 30, 45, 60, 90, 120. That gets me to 150. It just helps me count. So what you do have to do is at least have one number on both ends so that I know what your intervals are going by. Okay? So I go by 30s at every other tick mark. So it means 150 is in this corner and 150 is in this quarter are my X and Y intercepts. Because if Y is 0, X is 150. If X is 0, Y is 150. And then what I'm going to do is connect my lines. And then I am going to shade the region below. So that gives me my top equation for X plus Y are less than or equal to 150. However, math needs to be greater than 60. So math is the x-axis. So we're going to draw a a vertical line through 60.
Oh, wait, shoot, never mind. How did you get the equation for what? The first equation? I'm sorry. Yeah, but X plus Y is less than 150. How do you get that line up?
Because each X and Y intercept is 150.
What? If you do 150 minutes.
If you, if,
How do you graph it?
I'm so confused what you don't, I'll show you individually then, because I think you're the only one confused. So I'm not going to, I'll come explain it individually. Okay, so then X being greater than or equal to 60 would give this vertical line here. X's have to be greater than that, so the X's are greater over here. So the triangle in blue is my solution region. The blue region is the area with which she allots both subjects. Is everybody okay with that, except for Elijah? Okay, an entrance exam has two parts, a verbal portion and a math portion. So this is like an SAT. So if you take the SAT, you have your verbal and your math. You want to get a score of at least 550 on math and a total score of 1100. So we know that for this, we have a verbal and a math. So we're going to make X verbal. And we'll say that Y is math. And then it says for the admission to your school of your choice, it requires a math score of at least 550 and a total score of at least 1100. So it's giving me two equations at a time right now. It's telling me that my math score has to be greater than or equal to, whoa, 550. My total score has to be at least 1100. So my total is my math and science combined, or math and English combined. So my math and English together have to be greater than or equal to 1100. And you can only score up to 800 points on each part. So what that means is my math score has to be less than or equal to 800, but greater than or equal to 550. And my verbal score, the only requirement is that it is less than or equal to 800. And again, that's just coming from the idea that you can't score higher than an 800 on that part of the exam. Okay, so what that means is that my x values are going to have a horizontal line at 800. So we'll count out 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll say that this is 800. So my scores for x have to be less than or equal to 800. So they can live in this yellow box right here. Yeah, this just because of the computer programming, it didn't do it. And then my y values have to be between 550. So I'm going to have a horizontal line at 550. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go between them. So that's 550. And then up to 800. So 6, 7, 8. So my y values have to be greater than 550, but less than 800. So that is this overlapping region right here. And once we have the bound, I know my x's can't go beyond it. So I'm just going to live in that rectangular region there. Now, Elijah, this is where I think we lost you last time. So this equation right here, x plus y greater than or equal to 1100, is equivalent to y greater than or equal to negative x plus 1100. So what that means is my y-intercept is 1100 and my slope is negative 1. So this is 8, 9, 10, 11 would be one block up. So slope of negative 1 means down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, and so on and so forth. But I don't really care what's outside of these blue or yellow regions. So I only really care about what's happening from this blue dot to this blue dot, because my answer set can only come from where it's already light blue to where this line would shade. And this line would shade above this graph. So yes, technically there's blue shading all out here, but because it's not already where I have overlap, I don't really care. So when it asks you for a solution area, my solution area is this point of intersection and over to here and down, over and across, or this whole shaded region. Does that make sense, everybody? So where it's super dark blue is my solution. So she could score a 700, 550, because 700 and 550 would be greater than or equal to 1100. She could score a 600, 550. The minimum score she could get would be this point of intersection right here. So 550 or 1100 minus 550, because that's the lowest score she could get for y, which is also the lowest score she could get for x. So the min score she could get on both exams is 550s. We have y greater than or equal to 3. So you draw in a horizontal line at 3. It is greater than or equal to, so it is solid. Y is greater than, so we shade above. Then we're going to graph our absolute value. Its vertex is at -2, +5, so you go -2 and then up 5. It's open down. It's also dashed. And then it's y greater than, so that means we shade outside or above. So it's going to be everything above the horizontal line and above the absolute value. What? Yes. Okay, and then in this example, y is greater than or equal to x. So you have a solid line at y greater than or equal to x, therefore it's solid and shaded above. And then we have an absolute value whose vertex is -5, -2. Whose slope is 1. My lines are solid. It's y less than, so you shade below. So this is kind of like the Nike swoosh. So between the lines. Okay, and then the last one is very similar to the SAT scores, but now we just want to find the vertices of intersection. So we have a solid line at 6. Shade below. We have a vertical line at -4. X's are greater than, so you shade to the right. So the overlap is this part right here. And then we have a line whose intercept is -2 and slope is 1. So just drawing in my line, I'm going to take my points so that they hit both my x and y graphs. It's greater than or equal to, so the line is solid. And y is greater than, so we shade above. So now we're in this triangular space. And one last line where you'd subtract your 2x, your y-intercept is 7. And my slope is 2, so you're going to go down 2 and over 1 until you intersect this line here. I mean, 74 isn't going to fit. I'm sorry, I hit the 4 key. Okay, and now your y values are less than, so you're going to shade in here. The vertices are the 4 corners with which the graph meets. So right here, -0.5 and 6. Right here at -4 and -1, -4 and I can't count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -4, -6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, whatever. What? 6. Thank you. So my line just has to go flip-flopped. Okay. Your homework is the 3-word problems and then the back of that, which is a couple graphing. There are no vertice problems like this. This is what we are building up to. I didn't even need to do that one today.